Yo, people, what's going on? Welcome to Stretford Paddock. I am, of course, Adam McKola. He is, of course, Joel Beya, the one and only Joel, the only Arsenal fan we like around these ends.
Listen, man, you ain't gonna like me this weekend, Mac. You ain't gonna like me this weekend.
I was about to say, for this weekend, it's no holds barred. Obviously, we're not friendly this weekend, or at least until about 8 o'clock on Saturday night, depending on the result. Joel, how are you doing, brother, first of all?
You know what? I'm doing all right, Mac. Good to see you. It's funny because we've been talking in the last couple of weeks and people watching, Stretford Paddock fans, one of my biggest issue with Mac is that me and Mac have been boys for like 4 or 5 years. 5 years.
Bro, and the rest.
What'd you say?
We met each other 2014.
So I've known him since 2014. We've probably been cool since 2015. Yeah, so like 6 years. Yeah, raw. And we just don't do enough videos together. We don't do a lot, but yet he's someone that I can reach out to whenever. It's not like, we need to start doing more, man.
Because you know what it is?
What?
Yeah. We're not YouTube friends, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
true.
We're friends in it. So it's like, I don't really think of you to like, really, I should be like, yo, let me make a video with Joe.
Yeah.
But really, I just want to see Joe, you know what I mean? I don't want to make a video. So it's like, we're here today to make the video for the game that everyone wants to hear about. Arsenal versus Manchester United. The battle of the timeline. That's the only derby that's going down now. This used to mean a lot more back in the day. Joe, before we go anywhere, with these games that come on, Sky have their montages, BT do it, Aditya Reds will have a great one. All these people will make great montages ahead of this game. What's the resounding memory that you have of Arsenal? Like, when you think of it, what picture or moment comes to your head?
You know what, yeah? I always think of the Roy Keane and Vieira days. Do you know what I mean? The battle in centre midfield. Who was going to back down, who was going to, take the glory. And I always think that it was won in that centre of midfield. That's where it was. Do you know what I mean? Because then obviously they could unleash the boys for them to do the rest of what they had to do. That was the main thing. I reckon these days, sometimes I don't even know where it's won anymore. It sounds a bit depressing, but I don't even know. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, there's still exciting games. Even when Jesse came to our ground and disrespected the thing a little bit, I'm coming from, like, I remember that game. Do you know what I mean? Like, the adrenaline, Mac, doesn't change when it comes to United. Yeah. But I do feel like Roy Keane, Vieira, that's when I think, yeah, you know what? I'll be waiting all year for this game.
I've got that. So the image I have of that is, you remember when, so you guys were at Highbury, Keane has a blue United shirt on, and Vieira and Keane and Stam are all getting involved and trying to grip each other up. Like, that's the one image. And then obviously in the tunnel, when United have the stand-up, speak-up night tick, and Ronaldo shushed all of Highbury. Those are some great memories. But obviously, hopefully, we can create more. And even in recent years, it's been a game that's meant a lot, even just for the fans, because of the history of the fixture. A lot of fans our age and, a little bit younger, a little bit older, this game still means a lot to them, even if it isn't really for trophies and stuff anymore. Obviously, both teams this season come into the season with, let's say, question marks over their managers. Obviously, Arteta ended the season successfully. Arsenal fans were feeling very, very positive about this campaign. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you could say he ended the season successfully as well, getting third spot. But because we got knocked out of a few semi-finals, it kind of left us feeling, a little bit up and down. How has that early season optimism changed for you, Joel? And do you still feel, I know the results have changed dramatically, but do you still feel that Arteta's building something here?
Hey, listen, let me be real with you. I started doing a preview with you and it started sounding all preview. I'm going to keep it real with you, Mac. Yeah. The season's gone down the hole, bruv. Do you know what I mean? And I'm disappointed. Yeah. Because for start of the season, Mac, yeah, I thought it was a top 4 thing. Like, I was ready, bruv. I was looking at Man United, like, Man United who, bruv? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, all pumping out my chest and that. Bro, after that bad run of games, yeah, when first of all relegation was a joke, innit? It was kind of like Arsenal relegation, but then we just kept slipping further and further and further down the table. It wasn't until that Chelsea game until we started like picking things up a little bit, yeah. But it's been crap, Mac. Like, let me not even lie to you. I should be hyping up and backing my team. I do back my team. I'm not going to sit here and lie. This season, it has been pants because I felt like if there is a season where you're going to try to get top four, it can probably be this season. Not because you're a top four team, but because it's such a topsy-turvy season. And I'm not wrong. Because when you look at the table, you've got teams like Villa there. Obviously, Leicester deserve to be there. They're solid, you know what I mean? Like, but there's other teams, even when United went top, West Ham, it's kind of like when United went top, I thought, hold on a second. I'm not saying that United ain't got a good team because I feel like your players are quality, but even I'm surprised that you've closed the gap so much on Liverpool, especially City and Liverpool. So you can tell that the season is still a little bit weird. And we have not capitalized on that whatsoever. On top of that, we just got knocked out of the Forever Arsenal Cup. So, bro, like, our season, yeah, is just whack at the moment. But saying that, I do believe we're going to come. And this is the type of game where we're still going to beat you just because. And then we're going to go lose our following fixture. That's what I think.
Yeah, you do have you remind me of kind of like... You less so in terms of, I don't see you scoring as many goals. And that could be down to the fact that a big part of your front three is not performing or not available or whatever. I don't see you scoring as many goals as early. But remember early Ole Gunnar Solskjaer days where we beat the big teams, but we struggled against the little teams. That's kind of what you remind me of at the moment with a little less threat. Because it seems it reminds me of Van Gaal days. Under Van Gaal at United, when he used to get it right, it worked, and you looked at it and you thought, "Wow, that is amazing!" Like he's got everything right. The players have responded. They've put it out there, and it's worked to a T. Thinking of first game that comes to mind there, Liverpool United at Anfield. We battered them. Anfield, that was amazing. But then there were games like the whole of December under Van Gaal where we were awful and we couldn't score in the first half. And it seems like players aren't able to be their natural self because they're not able to go out of positions and stuff like that. What have you made of Arteta tactically? And because a lot of talk was about him being similar to Pep, but I don't really see any similarities there.
You know what? Yeah, I think credit to Arteta, and I'm not even just saying this, yeah. When you look at the crop of players that we have, bro, yeah, fair enough, we shouldn't be as low as we have been during a lot of this part of the season. But in general, he's got a lot out of these players, Look at some of these young players who are nobodies. Do you see what I mean? The likes of the Sackers and Emile Smith-Rowe, they're coming up, bro. Do you see what I mean? Like,
Saka's great. Yeah, I like
Saka's good. And so is Emile Smith-Rowe. Keep an eye on him. Trust me.
I've seen less of him. I've obviously seen how good he is, but I've seen less of it. Like Saka, he's so good in so many different positions. And it's so rare for a young player to be able to do that, especially for a manager that will be demanding or seems to, from the outside looking in, seems to be demanding, like, remember where you're going at all times, like tactically, like don't move out of this position or that position. And that's a lot for a young kid to take on. And then when you combine that with changing position constantly as well, I think he is a talented kid, man. Needs to find a big club for him.
Nah, get out of here, man. Liverpool and City are busy, mate. They don't need him at the moment, yeah? So, yeah, no, you're right. I think you're definitely right, man. And it even makes me think, even as you were speaking, I was thinking, right, he's right, like, that's a lot of information to hold. And it's not like he's here playing 10, 15 minutes here and there. He's playing full 90s, bro. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, definitely credit to him. But he's got a lot out of these players. Even some of these players that I think, to be honest with you, I think, bro, I'm even surprised he's getting a lot out of. Rob Holding. In the grand scheme of things, you might not consider Rob Holding anything, right? But to get what he's getting out of him, you've got to give him credit, to even manage the situation with Aubameyang and Lacazette. These are players that when they're not happy, bro. But the truth is he's managing what he can. Cedric, bro, I don't know who he was before he came to us. Do you see what I mean? But in regards to players like that, you'll see them play and they'll have one or two good performances, and you think, you know what, he's actually scraping the barrel and getting the most out of what he can get, you know, especially in a time like this. So I have to give him credit there. But when I look at the club as a whole, it always comes down to, okay, so what are we going to get after this? How are we going to get supported to go from where we are now, which I'm sorry, is nowhere near Man United, nowhere near City, nowhere near Liverpool. I don't even know if we're near Leicester at the moment. Yeah. How do we get from there, to back where we should be? Because my issue is, Mac, we have stopped challenging for the league. Do you see what I mean? I don't know
Long
what it's
time
like.
ago that.
Yeah, but what'd you say?
Long time ago, you stopped challenging for the league.
Bruv, long time ago. So if you
even longer than us.
Yeah, just about. But if you look at like,
no, bro, it is. When was the last time? Nah, actually,
Leicester.
You probably had one on, against Leicester. Yeah, that's all right. But seriously challenging.
Like, you mean from start to finish, where we say we're gonna win the league, bro? We ain't done that in like 16 years, bro. Like, let's be real, probably like 16 years or something like that. So that's my issue.
2004, 5, yeah.
And even you lot, obviously, there's one thing accepting where you are. But Mac, I hear a lot of your fans saying this season all we wanted to do was close the gap on Liverpool and City. Is that acceptable for you?
For this season, when we come into it, yes. But now when you look at the way the season's going and the way the campaign is and the points total and that, obviously your objectives change, don't they? Now, that's not to say that I think, right, our objective now has to be to win the league. But I think if we were like more than 6 points away from the title at the end of the season, I think that'd be a massive failure. Like, from the position that we're in right now. So obviously your objectives change as the season go on, but I think that was the objective at the start of the season, because we were 30-something mad totals away from Liverpool, and you couldn't expect to close that gap like in one season. The plus point has been, I think probably we've closed it by 15 points. They've dropped 15 points, which has helped us massively, but it's still a long way to go. And I think if it was a normal season, there was a pre-season and all that, you know, maybe we're not as close, but you have to take the opportunity. And that's why after Sheffield United, like, I kind of looked at it and thought, you know what, 13 games unbeaten in the league since we lost to Arsenal. We've lost this game now. It's disappointing, but let's see a reaction. But if we get to the end of the season and we've lost the league by 3 points, like, it's going to be like, yo, that was a big... So, yes, it's all well and good saying you should close the gap, or the objective was to close the gap, but you got to take these opportunities or try and grasp them when they're there. And I think there's a big opportunity here. Maybe not to win the league, but to go very close. That's
the thing, Mac. And I feel like some of the seniority, the guys in the senior positions, they need to see that. Do you know what I mean? I know that it's not just about spending money here, there, and some unlimited pot of cash. We understand that Corona and, you know, things change. But if there's an area which you need to address it, I think it should be addressed with first choice signings. Like, when I look at your Jadon Sancho situation, maybe United didn't have the money. I don't know. In my head, or what I think of United, right, as a very stable club that has been, you know, making a lot of successful commercial deals since, you know, your guy has come in, Woodward has come in. If there's a player that you really, really want, you get him in. And in my opinion, that's why City have jumped you guys. Because if they could see Kolarov is tired, this person's tired, goalkeeper we've brought in isn't the one, let's bring in Edison. They address the situations without an issue. Sometimes I feel like you don't address. Sometimes I feel like you address where you don't need to address. I don't think the plan has been right. And that's what I'm complaining about with Arsenal as well.
That's because we've got owners that aren't here to win trophies. They're here to make money, much like maybe you have the same complaints about your owners. And I think that's the difference. I think if you look at Chelsea in the summer, if you were to give Ollie that kind of backing, like, look at the signings that he's made. Like, there's no flops in there. Now, you maybe get one or two, but I think it would have had us looking a lot better, and maybe even sitting a bit more comfortably at the top. So, yeah, I think you're right in saying that you need to see the direction. And when you look at City and you look at Chelsea, their owners show that intent
Clear.
We can say, United fans can all say, oh, we want that, but it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And if, in fact, you mentioned there Ed Woodward and the commercial deals and stuff, and if you actually read up on it now, since COVID and our shirt sponsorship deal ending soon, and all those kind of things, and not being as successful as we were, obviously we could still do something, but as of now, we're not. Like, he's going to struggle to get a deal that is as good as anything that we've had before. So that commercial thing is going to start looking a bit flaky for him soon in terms of, oh, I'm a success commercially. And what you'll start to see is that actually he was a success commercially because Manchester United, you could sell it to anybody, you know what I mean? Like, it's not hard to sell Manchester United to people, I don't think. And yes, he does deserve to be given a little bit of credit, but I think it's a little bit overblown. And I think in the next year, if we don't win the league or something like that, you'll see Liverpool are going to jump ahead of us in the financial kind of tables and all that. And I know that means nothing to us as fans, really, but to those guys, shareholders and owners and that will mean a lot to them. So
they're another team, Mac, they're another team that I think they're not really. When I look at what Klopp's done for them, I know this is Arsenal, Man United, guys, but you know we're talking all around because unfortunately, Arsenal United isn't top. We're not both challenging like we used to, so we're going to spread it out a little bit. But it's a bit like them, Mac. When I look at, yes, they will make signings here and there, but they seem a little bit cool in regards to spending money when they need to. Like they're the champions, right? Why are they not? I'm not saying that there's somebody that's as good as Van Dijk available in the market at the moment. But, bro, they're playing Henderson centre-back. Like, yeah, it worked against Spurs and stuff like that. But sometimes I feel like if you take away Fabinho and he plays as a centre-back, you're taking away from what he does in midfield. Why do you not just go and invest that money, 30, 40, million or whatever it is that you need to and get someone there just in case? Because if you don't retain it, that could be their cycle gone.
I think I agree with that, and I brought that up before when I was talking to Laz on that. And that Laz seems to think, and he could be right. I know less about Liverpool than him, but he seems to think they're saving up for big moves in the next summer. And I agree with you. Like, I don't want it to happen, but if I was a Liverpool fan, I'd be thinking, bro, we won Champions League, we won Premier League, and you're not really spending any money. Like, yes, they bought Thiago and that, but you're not really spending that much money. It's a bit bizarre. And especially when you consider that Klopp has got so much out of that squad. Like, it needs refreshing. They're still bringing, like, Origi off the bench and stuff. And you look at United. People want to what?
And people want to play for Klopp. He's not like some manager that you would want to, you need to, like, you know what I mean? Like, proper sell it to him and stuff like that. Like, people want to play for Klopp. So that's something that I don't understand. And I think it's going to bite them in the long term. I mean, obviously, he's saying that they're going to save up for big signings and stuff. But I don't know, like, if I'm to be really honest with you. Yeah, bringing in Origi off the bench. When I saw that the other day, I just thought to myself, really? Like, okay, fine.
Our bench is better than theirs, which is mad. Like, we got Cavani, like sometimes Cavani or Marshall on the bench, Donny. Like, we got a strong bench, which is a big thing for us. Talking about teams, what's your predicted 11?
My predicted 11, bro, is simple for me. Let me bring it up. So I've got Leno in goal for Arsenal. I feel like we'll play with Tierney. I saw that he's been training again, which is fantastic for us. For me, he's an absolute hero. By the way, just to go back, I reckon Leno's in better form than David De Gea, by the way. Even though he got fouled for that Sheffield United goal, I feel like the way he came up was poor, bro. Like, he should be coming up and bullying that team. You see what I mean? He should be bullying it. Yeah, it was a foul, but I kind of feel like if Leno is not shot stopping, if De Gea isn't shot stopping, which I feel like he's still the man at that, shot stopping, especially with his feet, especially, not saying only, especially with his feet, he's not the presence that he once was 2, 3, 4 years ago. To the point where when I look at Leno and I feel like Leno can do as good of a job as De Gea now in these days. And it's not an Arsenal bias. It's just how I see it. Do you know where I'm coming from? And that's why I am wondering how long will it be till Dean Henderson becomes the number 1 Man United goalkeeper? I digress. What's your thoughts on that before I carry on?
Dean Henderson isn't ready yet. De Gea's improved this season. I agree with you on the goal. He could have done better. But I refuse to go into that because he was fouled. So I'm not gonna it was a foul. Like I can't
He's not
complain at someone.
dominating though in those areas.
Nah, bro, he got pushed from behind. Anyone gets pushed from behind and they're jumping in the air to punch a ball, they're gonna move. They're gonna if Billy Sharp doesn't touch him, he might get the ball. He might have dealt with that situation.
I feel like he's just not as dominant as he once was.
I agree with you. For me, he stands on his line too much. So he doesn't fall. So he'll stand on the line and allow people to come and crowd him out. So he won't be out there trying to, because goalkeepers get away with extra shit. Goalkeepers can basically punch someone in the face. Like, and also you see when that decision got given, like we didn't even make it get checked.
Bro.
We didn't even make, like, go and tell the ref.
Bro,
what the fuck, ref? And then the ref's gonna think, whoa, I've missed something. Like he's gonna think, I've missed. Surely, if he's so angry, I've missed something. Like, and maybe they go and check it, but he just kind of said, "Yo, ref." He did that to the ref,
like
and then
the desire's not there. The desire's not there. I've got a huge problem with that. Do you know what I mean? And I'm gonna go into Martial later on because we're talking about desire, but
we're not talking about Martial today.
We are. I am talking about. You're talking about, you're not. I am, because I've got bones to pick, right? So you got Leno in goal, yeah. We got left back Tierney. For me, we're talking about desire. That's the kid that's got desire right about now. I feel like the more senior players should be a little bit ashamed of themselves because this kid.
He's also got a flu because he don't fucking dress properly, bro. Time put some clothes on when it's snowing.
Listen, man. Listen, your boys, your old school boys would have been proud of him. Keane would have loved it. He would have loved it. But yeah, I say Tierney left back. I love what he stands for, and I'm glad that he's training again. Gabriel as a centre back. I've put what I think Arteta is going to put because I think he's going to play holding. I would rather, in this occasion, probably see. Well, it probably has to be holding because of what they kick with. But I would have probably liked to see Luiz on a day like this, just because Luiz, when it comes to these big games, yes, he can either be a huge calamity or he can actually stand up and boss the game. And I will take the risk with him bossing the game. I also think he's going to play Bellerin right back. Wouldn't personally really be my choice if I'm honest with you, but that's what he'll do. Xhaka and Partey sitting, and sitting will be mostly Xhaka. Partey will be doing like box to box stuff, and hopefully he's going to be celebrating and showing you what it's like. And Pogba and them guys won't be invited into the VIP like last time. On the left-hand side, he'll probably go back with Saka. Again, what you say with Saka is amazing because last game he was playing on the right and he did exceptionally well. But he can do a great job on the left as well. So I say great job. That's where he plays the majority of the time. Willian, he's probably going to start with because I feel like he didn't play the last game. So he's going to get the nod over whoever. Emil Smith-Rowe is going to be the creative, which I thought he was brilliant last game. He's been brilliant the last few games he's played in general. And I don't quite know if Aubameyang is going to be ready yet. So I feel like Lacazette is going to start. That's my predicted 11 going into the game.
So I heard Saka, Lacazette. Was it Smith-Rowe's out, right?
Smith-Rowe's out. You probably
And you didn't pick Willian, didn't you? Is Smith-Rowe out?
If Smith-Rowe's out,
did he get injured the other day?
If Smith-Rowe's out, he'll pick Willian. But some of these guys, bro, before it comes to the game, you're hearing a whole bunch of stuff or whatever, and then next thing you know, they make it, injury update on Smith-Rowe. Hold on. Gunners, past few days. He's not sure yet, bro. Not sure yet. I mean, looks like it's a muscular discomfort, but not 100% sure yet. I think if he's gone.
Yeah, I was going to say what you were going to say. Say it.
Yeah, I think if there's a risk, he will take the risk because he's just that good at the moment. And I think he should. I'd rather him play for, 60, 70 minutes or whatever. Take him off if you have to because he's just that dangerous. We can't afford to be putting in boys that are probably not up for it at the current moment. That's just the truth. You
know what? And I think Arsenal playing a lot better at the moment. And when they're much more organised, so they're much more difficult to score against at times. But what it reminds me of at the moment with these young players playing well is Moyes and Adnan Januzaj. Like, he doesn't get a response from the older players, although Lacazette seems to be responding to him.
Yeah.
He doesn't get a response from the older players, or the majority of them, but he gets a response from the younger players, because the younger players are just thrilled to have an opportunity. And with the amount of information that he gives them, younger players are more likely to soak it up and go. You can't teach your old dog new tricks. And if you're trying to give Willian these massive instructions, maybe even Aubameyang to a certain extent, in the fact that he hasn't scored as many goals, he's not as natural a finisher anymore, because he's thinking about his overall game. And I just think he overloads people with information and instruction.
How do you know? Because you see him doing this on the sideline.
Nah, like when I see him, bro, you know what? Yeah, I wanted to see what was special about Arteta in it, and why people were hyping him so much. So I thought, let me watch his team a couple of times, and it reminds me of a Van Gaal team, bro. Like, every time they think they're overthinking everything, they're not playing their natural game, they're scared to make a mistake, kind of like a Mourinho team at times. I've seen Willian run into a position, bro. He's got space in front of him, and he'll stop. And that's because he's being instructed to not go into certain areas, and it reminds me of Van Gaal. It just reminds me of Van Gaal.
Boy, I don't know. We'll see in it. Like, I kind of hear what you're saying, but yeah, it's true. I think there is a trend overall of the older players. But do you think it's because the older players are at a time in their career where they're just playing for the sake of playing, and it's not necessarily about winning stuff?
I think you could look at that with, there's those accusations are labelled at Willian, aren't they? Because apparently he only signed because he's got business interests in London and things like that.
Who told you he doesn't want to pick the badge?
So I hear these things, you know what I mean? I got word on the street in London. Now, it's just like, I just don't think these older players like Willian, Louise, they seem like older players are stuck in their ways a little bit, aren't they? And especially when your abilities are waning. So you're maybe a little bit slower, or you're maybe a little bit less energetic, and you're trying to get told all this stuff. That's why he's not going to get a response, I don't think.
Do you think it's because it's because you're being told by someone who hasn't won as much as you, or hasn't maybe even played as much?
That could come into it, but obviously it won't come into it with every player. But I believe it will come into it with some people, and that's why you'll start to see probably the dressing room fragment, and certain players saying certain things and other players being really up for it. Because at the start of the season, it was all well and good when you'd won an FA Cup and you'd ended the season really well. I think you beat Liverpool.
On the Community Shield as well. Second 2 trophies.
Yeah, you beat City. You did all that. And then, like, the start of the season, when things start to go wrong and players start to talk to each other and start to have doubts about you, they're less likely to absorb those instructions that they once take. Like, with Harry Kane and Mourinho, like, he's only going to respond to Mourinho for so long till he sits in the dressing room and thinks, bro, why the fuck are we sitting on 1-0 leads every week? Like,
yeah,
it's only so long it's going to work. Like, when the results stop, that's when players start thinking,
yeah, no, it's true.
Sack this off. Because they're only human as well. Do you know what I mean? Anyway,
I was saying that. I was saying that the other day when they had played. Obviously Liverpool game and stuff like that as well. But when they played a few games ago, Tottenham, and I looked at them and I thought to myself, like, it's all well and good to play this defensive football when you're winning stuff. Do you know where I'm coming from? But after a while, bruv, like, you're gonna start hearing the fans ain't gonna be happy, man. Do you reckon that's why? Why do you reckon, before you move on, bro, why is it that fans are really quick from those 3 teams, especially Man United, Arsenal, and Tottenham? Why are they so quick to want to turn on their manager?
I can't speak for other clubs, and I think actually I can guess why I think Arsenal. I don't know Spurs, because Spurs have no right to be loud about anything. Arsenal fans, I can understand, because you've got fans your age, a little bit younger, a little bit older, that have grown up accustomed, okay, maybe not to you winning everything, but challenging for everything, or feeling like you'd go into the Champions League feeling like, we can win this. You'd go into the Premier League every season thinking, we can win this. And once that stopped, you had these expectations, and then it's like this. For example, I use a smaller situation to explain that, because Man United this season, no one expected us to win the league yet. But because we were top of the table for 2 weeks and we lost the game against Sheffield United, everyone's heads have gone. And it's like that expectation built up, and now it's not there. It's like, fuck, like we need that back. So then you start getting angry that you're not getting it back. So that's what I think it is with Arsenal and United. There's obviously but I think in the grounds, particularly with United, Ollie wouldn't have been pressured. I don't think, obviously, I can't speak on behalf of Arsenal, but Ollie wouldn't have been under pressure. Inside the ground is where we've backed every single manager all the way. Yes, there'll be an occasional smattering of boos or jeers, or people will be unhappy with performance. But I remember Mourinho when we lost 3-0 against Spurs and we fucking sang him off the pitch, and that was even with me thinking, I think this guy's done out here. But like we backed it because we kind of you're our guy now. You know what I mean? We have to back you. So I don't know. I think internet fans are very different, and I even think some people, and we've seen it on the complete other end of the spectrum this week, would say things online that they wouldn't say in person. Innit?
The Tanzania was just poor, man. I didn't like that at all, man. Poor.
I think it goes without saying that it's unneeded and unwarranted. But it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't. Racism. People need to stop being surprised by racism.
It's true. It's true.
And it's almost like there's no consequences for it. So what's like what? Man ain't got nothing to be worried about saying. I can literally right now. I can message anyone in this world, bro, and tell them, "Go suck your mom," or just whatever I want. Like, think about that power. Like, it's mental now. I think I'm someone that deals with that quite well. It's like water off a duck's back. Try to ignore it, laugh it off.
Yeah.
But it's not everybody's the same. You know what I mean? And yeah, like I'm glad Axel's responded well. But you want to talk about Marshall?
How did he respond? Because I didn't get the chance to see. I saw a lot of messages.
Well,
and it was good to see.
He may have been. I don't know I don't know him personally, but from the he posted a video and he seemed to be okay. And Marshall hasn't posted. I know you want to speak about him. I'll go into my team and then we'll speak about him. Yeah. He hasn't posted on socials for a long time, and I know footballers get this kind of you just post bullshit like all the time, like
after the game.
I'm sorry guys, but he actually just hasn't posted at all. Which I kind of is that because he don't want to go online and read his mentions, or what is it? His missus was getting it not long ago. His wife as well, and it's like, what the people have got too much time on their hands, man. It's really odd. Sure. But my team for this day anyway, and you could talk about Marshall in a footballing sense in a bit.
Of course.
Although I won't be contributing to that conversation. My team is David De Gea in goal, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Lindelof, Shaw, McTominay, Fred, Pogba, Bruno, Rashford, and Cavani. So no Anthony Martial and Pogba just behind the striker with Bruno and Rashford. Okay.
So I'm surprised that you got Lindelof back in there when in my eyes, Bailly was the guy in the last.
I agree with you. Bailly is the better player. He's our best centre half, in my opinion.
That's what
crucial to United's campaign this year. But he missed the game midweek. He was supposed to play in that game, and he didn't play in that game. And Ollie said this was a game for Eric. Next game's for Lindelof. So I kind of just think he'll go that way. But if I had my way, I'd pick Bailly.
Okay, cool. No, that's fair enough. I do want to talk about Martial. And again, this is a show where we look at things professionally. I know that. I didn't think it was good enough, Mac, what I saw during the course of the week. Not running back, Cavani sprinting, running rings around him, sprinting to get the ball. He looked like he was lost in space. That's not good enough. The boy's been at the club for 6 years, right? We all know he's got ability. Even as a football fan, you want to see him do well. I was pretty disappointed that he didn't even make. For him, I was disappointed that he didn't make the World Cup squad for France, because I do feel like he has the ability, ahead of a lot of those players. And last season, gave him the ratings, man. He was doing a job. I even had a bet on with a friend. There's a friend that thought he was going to score 30. I was just like, he's not going to score 30. But end of the day, it was worth putting down. But what I'm seeing is just not good enough. I don't know how many goals he scored this season. Is it two?
It's 5. It's not good enough, but it's 5.
5. It's just poor, bro. Like it's absolutely poor. And yeah, I think with Martial, I don't know
what do you think it? What? That's what I was going to ask you. Like, obviously, I'll give you my opinion in a bit. What do you think it is? Just a period of he's going through a hard time. It's not going well for him. He's in his own head, and he just probably needs a break and to come back into it. Or what do you think it is?
I feel like
because I think there's been some unfair things. I've seen people calling him a con man and shit, and I think
no.
Bro, it's a bit too far. Do you know what I mean?
No. There's some players that want to play football, and there's players that want to play for Man United. Scott McTominay, Fred. I can't look at your players and say they don't want to play. They do want to play. Do you know what I mean? Bruno, like you can tell people want to play. But I reckon when I look at someone like Martial, one of the issues that I see is I feel like either it's not concerning enough for him. You know, it doesn't mean as much. It's really, she's lax, or it means so much to him that once it does, it affects his head and he's not very good playing under.
See, I don't think it is. I think it's really, really dangerous to start saying, and I don't think you're doing that, but I think it's unfair to say he doesn't care, he doesn't want to do well. Whenever I see other people score in our team, he's buzzing. Like, even if he hasn't scored, he's happy for them. He celebrates their goals as much as he would probably more than he would his, because he's quite cool when he scores. But I think it's unfair to say he don't care. I think it may be a little bit of the latter in that he's got into his own head and now it's affected all of his game. He's overthinking everything. I don't think he's been that player that runs around like a headless chicken. Mm-hmm. But when you're not doing what you do best, and when you're not contributing with what we know you can contribute, the very least you can do then is do the basics. Now a lot of people.
You said it well.
A lot of people pointed at the goal, and all right, he gave the ball away. He got back into position, maybe not quick enough, but then what happened from there was a defensive issue. Like, everyone was just ball watching.
It was so strange. It was
like,
strange.
I found it like, I don't think that goal was just purely down to him.
Yeah.
But if you look at against Liverpool, for example, Cavani's responsible for their second goal, but purely based off the fact that he was alive to trying to rectify his mistake, or he looked like it. I think, people can allow that to happen. And I think Martial, when things aren't going well for him, he doesn't look like the guy that cares, but I don't think that's the case. I think it's like Berbatov.
You said it in a better way than I was saying it.
I think it's like Berbatov. Remember Berbatov and Tevez? People used to be like, oh, Tevez, like, look at Tevez, like he cares. Berbatov don't care. And I used to think, bro, Berbatov got dropped out of the Champions League squad and cried in the dressing room. Like, these people do care. You think Martial doesn't care? I think that's rubbish. And I think when I look at him, I can tell that he does care and he's in his head.
Mac, that's all well and good, but he then needs to have a rocket put up his ass in those situations, because
that's the problem. He hasn't been dropped.
Too many times, it looks like he doesn't care. Someone can say he does, we can say he does or he doesn't. We don't know. We're not Martial, right? But it doesn't look as if he cares.
Bro, what I will say to you right now is there's a clip as well from the weekend where Rashford watches the ball the same way, but no one says anything.
Oh, really?
And I think that's like, it happened. Like, loads of strikers do this. Like, I'm judging him this season based on what he's doing going forward. He's not been good enough. Like, his finishing hasn't been good enough. But I think at the start of the season, his all-round game was there, but his finishing wasn't. It was really weird. Like, and as the season's progressed and he's played more games and he's not scored goals, his performances have got worse. And if you've seen it against Sheffield United, he was actually getting on the ball a lot, trying to force something, and if you watch that, I watched it back because I'm thinking, what's wrong with this guy, man? And if you look at him, there's one bit where he knocks the ball out wide to Pogba, runs into the box. The ball comes in, but he doesn't come to him, and he's got like you can tell he wants to score, but I just think you've got to do the basics. Otherwise, it's easy for people to go, well, he don't care. Even if you go and commit a foul after like, just go and boom. All right, sorry, boy. Put your hand up. Boys, I lost the ball. Yeah. I'm sorry.
But
I've stopped this attack now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it wasn't what you've got to do that. And I think in England especially, you can maybe get away with that in France, where the culture's a bit different, and it's a little bit different. I remember Arsene Wenger once said something like, in England, like if you run around and you tackle and you scream and shout and you do all this and that, people will love you, even if it's not necessarily effective or good for your team. And I think sometimes just doing those basics, looking like you care. But I think he does. I think it's unfair to say someone doesn't care, because it's their profession. Do you get me? He wants to win. He wants to score goals. To say he doesn't, and if he didn't, he wouldn't be in the team.
Lovely story. I hear you. I agree with you. But he's got to start looking like he cares more.
Oh,
you see what I mean?
He's got He's got to start scoring. He's got to start. He doesn't have to start.
But did you see? Scoring, which is fine. Look, primarily, you're right. But what I'm talking about specifically, what I saw, right, and what I saw, too many times. I'm not even talking about the goal. Like you said, that was a defensive issue, and it wasn't just him. But when Cavani's running rings around him, coming around, running around, doing this, fighting for the ball, he's looking like he's lost, and other players are working hard around him. That would piss me off, bro. Like, we play football together. We've done so in the past with different people on the pitch. We're not necessarily talented like professional footballers, but we try, bro. Yeah, all right, cool. We try, bro. We try. Like, I'm not there on some punk stuff, bro. You've got to, you know what I mean? You've got to fight, and that's for me.
I like Berbatov and people used to say the same about them, and that's why I'm a bit like, I don't know if it's a lack of effort or lack of, like, maybe it's a lack of, like, just doing the bit. I think it's just that, like, do the bit. When you're doing shit, do the basics. Then no one can say nothing. Let
me tell you something about my issue, with that is I think Berbatov was probably skillfully, in terms of tech, he was the best. But then if you're going to look and rank them as strikers, he wasn't considered the best out of those lot. I'm just someone where I look at it and it's for the team and we can talk about the team, but you've got to want to be the best in that position. You've got to want to do the most. And that's what Cavani looks like he wants to be. That's what Rashford looks like he wants to be. And Martial, who might even have the best natural ability out of all your strikers, he's got to start looking like he cares more, because that stuff is only going to carry you a certain type of way.
See, I think he just needs to start doing the basics and getting his goals again. I think if he does that, no one cares how he looks. And I don't think how he looks means he doesn't care, is what I would say. I just think he's had an awful season. And I think what he needs to realise is, and I think Gary Neville... He said, what?
How many awful seasons do you need?
No, what I'm about to say, like, Gary Neville, I don't know if he spoke about it recently or if it's an old clip that went about. But there was a Gary Neville clip about it, and he says when he looks at him, he's got everything. Goals, assists, this, that, the other. But one thing that you don't want to happen is when you look back on the end of your career, or you look back in 3-4 years' time, you think, should I have done this or should I have done that? And I think Martial is heading to that period where, look, you can rescue this season. You can rescue this season. There's a big long way to go with crucial important games to come. You can rescue it, but you need to start grasping the nettle right now, because before you know it, your time can be up. Jesse Lingard, I love the guy. He's achieved great things for United in his time here, but gradually he's not in the team anymore. He had to find out elsewhere, and that can happen very quickly to you. And I think that's what he needs to realise. But I think there's also some of the stuff just goes too far, and I don't like he's finished and sell him. I think it's too far. We've seen strikers go through periods like this before, and his problem is he hasn't been dropped. You need to be dropped.
It's true.
You can't just then go on the left. Now he's very good on the left when he's in form, but you can't now just put him on the left and he's still not getting goals, and your appearances are going up and your goals ain't going up.
Going down.
And now your confidence is going down, but people are still looking at it and saying, well, you've played 20-odd games, scored 5 goals, you're a striker. You can't now say, well, for the last 10 games, I've been playing as a winger. So, like, it's that simple for me. You play Cavani, you don't play Martial, and you basically, the challenge is there, bro. Take your spot back off this guy. That's as simple as it has to be. And I think Solskjaer will be aware, like, over the years, we've had, like, if Solskjaer weren't performing, Sheringham or Cole, At the moment, it was if Martial wasn't performing, nobody was performing. And now when you've got a striker like Cavani and you're not performing, your performances stink more.
Wow. I want to add one bit though. I want to give a shout out to someone. You guys are going to think like, is this guy begging it or whatever? No, I'm just an appreciator of good football and good players. Mason Greenwood. I know he hasn't had a good a season as he had last year. I know it's been troubled, but based on talent, that boy, this season ain't been great. I want that guy to have a good career. That boy is talented, scary talent. You see what I mean? I do get worried. I don't know what he's like up there in the mind, because obviously I know that he's had a lot of stuff going on, etc. You know, whatever. That's what I'm hearing anyway. But I want that boy to just focus on his football. Top quality player.
I'm not concerned by the little dip in his form. I kind of expected it this season. Second season, you know, he had it. You know, one of his friends passed away.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, obviously he's been a little bit naughty himself off the pitch with England, and he's had all those things happen. A new level of intense scrutiny that, you know, he would never have experienced in his life. So I think his world has changed a lot for the better, maybe for the worse in some regards as well. And I think he's just kind of got to handle all that. And I think Ollie did mention, like, you know, you can't go giving it 100% and then one season you're giving it 99% because the drop-off's too much. And I think he was speaking about Greenwood when he said that. You could apply it to many different players, but I think maybe he's just thought, I've made it, and you just need to be knocked down a peg and just go again. And I think Ollie's handling him well. I think he's handling him well. The boy scored a goal against Liverpool in the cup. I think.
I saw that. No, fantastic.
Anyway, what's your score prediction for this game?
I reckon we'll be, you know. I reckon we'll be.
Dreading that.
Yeah, because I feel like it's such a perfect time to catch United. We caught you, because Sheffield caught you off cold. Yeah, I think that's a massive plus for us. Massive plus for us, and we've done okay in the last few. Well, besides FA Cup, we've done okay in the last few games. So I feel like I'm going for a 1-0 again. You know, bro.
I'll go for a 1-0 United.
Really?
Bruno penalty.
If that happens, bro. Honestly,
it was an Aubameyang penalty in the last game, wasn't it? So
yeah, it's a Aubameyang.
It'd only be right. Thomas Partey kicks Pogba, and it's a penalty.
The way we celebrated that last win, yeah, you must have
shameless,
bro.
It's like shameless, bro. Shameless. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Make sure you go and follow Joel on social media as well. Go and check him out.
Instagram.
Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Keep it locked to Stretford Paddock. We'll be back with more content over the game against Arsenal, including the watch-along and reaction as well. Premier League piss takes coming soon, where hopefully we can rinse Arsenal. Keep it locked. See you in a bit.